A brief history of Veterans Day and its meaning and connection to CMS. There are over 23 million vets in the United States and over 2 million active duty servicemen and women. The U.S. has vets between the ages of 19 and 101. At 11 o'clock on November 11th, Great Britain, Canada, France, Australia all observe this moment in time. Arlington National Cemetery is located outside of Washington, D.C. Any veteran can choose to be honored there. Presidents, senators, authors, slaves, and government service members have all been laid to rest at this sacred place. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is the most hallowed ground at Arlington. There are over 400,000 service members buried there, 5,000 of them unknown. One unknown from each war has been interred in the tomb. It has been guarded nonstop by a special unit since 1926.
Day, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about Veterans Day. It actually started after World War I. November 11th was the end of World War I, and after that it was called Armistice Day, but today we know it as Veterans Day, and it actually is a time of giving thanks for all of the services that anyone who's served in the armed forces has done for their country. So it's important to me that we thank the people who have given so much, and in some cases their lives.
Hi, my name is Morgan Castro. My dad is in the U.S. Army. Veterans Day is important because it's a day to respect people like my dad and other people who have served this country. Veterans Day is important because veterans get the respect that they need because they serve and do a lot for our country.
Veterans Day for me is a pretty important day. I have family members that have served and are still serving. And it's a day to appreciate them and what they've done, and all the veterans for what they've done for
I'm Cameron Ralston, and my dad is Dwight Ralston, and he is in the Air National Guard, and he has gone overseas a lot. And to me, Veterans Day is important because it is a day that recognizes my dad for him and his sacrifices, and it makes me proud that I know that he's protecting our country.
Well, Veterans Day to me is a day in which we honor all of those people, men and women, who have served our country in the past years, and who I believe are the true
Veterans Day is a day for anyone who has ever served their country. It doesn't have to be combat. It is any soldier, sailor, airman, Coast Guard, anyone who has served their country. A lot of us have served our country recently in Desert Storm or the current desert conflict. It could be the Vietnam War. We still know World War II veterans. A lot of us have gone to war. Some of us have served domestically, just without going to war, but we're all veterans, and we all have given up our time and our treasure and our talents for our country.
Soldiers from wars both old and new march down city streets. Flags hang from homes, businesses, even car antennas. Ceremonies remember those who dutifully served their nation. It's Veterans Day, or Remembrance Day, as it's known in much of the world, a time to honor members of the armed forces. And it all began in a railroad car with a document to end the war to end all wars. World War I, also known as the Great War, shocked the global community with its unprecedented toll in human life. Untold millions were killed. Germany was running low on manpower and supplies, so they agreed to sign an armistice, or truce, in the French commander Ferdinand Foch's private rail car. On the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, all was quiet on the Western Front. The fighting had ended. Exactly 1 year later, President Woodrow Wilson decreed that Americans should observe a moment of silence at 11 a.m. to remember the armistice and to embrace the peace. Other Allied nations commemorated the peaceful anniversary as well. In England and Canada, citizens wore paper poppies. Poppies had become a symbol of the armistice. The poem Flanders Field described a one-time battlefield. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. In America, the nation's first unknown soldier was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery on Armistice Day, 1921. He was a casualty of the Great War. Since that first memorial, other unknown soldiers from America's wars have been interred in the tomb. And it's become tradition for the President or one of his representatives to lay a wreath on the monument every November 11th. A resolution was passed in 1926 inviting all Americans to remember Armistice Day and the soldiers who fought so hard for peace. The idea caught on. By 1938, the day was marked with so many ceremonies and parades, Congress made it a legal holiday, giving people the day off work. After World War II and the Korean War, Americans wanted to open up the holiday to include not just World War I veterans, but all who served in combat. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower, a World War II vet himself, legally changed the U.S. Armistice Day to Veterans Day, honoring those who served in all American wars. For a brief time, starting in 1971, Congress moved the holiday to the fourth Monday in October, giving Americans a 3-day weekend. But most people rejected the idea. The traditional date of November 11th, the anniversary of the Great War's ceasefire, was too historically important to forget. President Ford reversed the law in 1975, returning Veterans Day back to its rightful date. Over the decades, the holiday has changed with the times. Originally, it was a call for world peace. Then, in the U.S., it became a day to remember war veterans. Today, Veterans Day is set aside to honor not just those who served in war, but also those who have served their nation in peace.
There are 4 branches of the military: the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Coast Guard. Each branch has specific areas of expertise, but all have the same duty to serve, protect, and defend the United States of America. Let's be sure to take a moment to recognize the commitment and sacrifice that our servicemen and women have made this Veterans Day. Whether young or old, let's pause on the 11th at 11 o'clock to show our gratitude. Arthur Ashe said, "True heroism is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost." This selfless service is what we celebrate. Thank you, veterans.